A notary public is presented with a lease agreement where one of the parties appears to be under the influence of alcohol. What is the appropriate action for the notary? To help us answer this question, let's have a look at 182.3 of the Notary Public License Law entitled Requirements for Notaries. And if we jump to subsection B, it states that a notary may refuse to perform a notarial act if the notary public is not satisfied that 1. The principal is competent or has the capacity to execute a record, and or the principal's signature is knowingly and voluntarily made. So with this in mind, let's have a look at the four choices to determine our solution. Choice A states, refuse to notarize and suggest that the parties return when all are in a sober state. Now, this would seem to be the prudent course of action based on what we read from before with respect to the notary's duties and obligations to ensure that somebody is willingly and voluntarily signing a document. When somebody is under the influence of alcohol, that obviously takes away from the person's ability to do so. But before we mark this as the correct solution, let's have a look at choices B, C, and D just to be certain. Choice B states, proceed with the notarization as the notary is not responsible for assessing the mental state of signatories. Now, this is somewhat misleading in its wording because while the notary public is not a psychiatrist, as it were, it is still the notary public's obligation to ensure that the document is being signed knowingly and voluntarily, as we read before. So the notary public definitely does have a responsibility to ensure that, and proceeding with the notarization, knowing that one of the parties is under the influence of alcohol, would take away from that obligation, and therefore choice B is not the correct solution. Choice C states, notarize the document but make a note about the signatory's condition. Making a note while still notarizing the document would still compromise the notarization and not be helpful, and therefore choice C is not the correct solution. Finally, choice D states, ask the sober party to confirm the intentions of the intoxicated party. Well, it is certainly not upon the notary public to get into intentions of one of the parties and or to ask the other party to confirm the intentions of the other party, and therefore choice D is not the correct solution, which leaves choice A, refuse to notarize and suggest that the parties return when all are in a sober state, as the correct solution.